entericals. In the rectum, we have storage and dehydration of feces prior to elimination. Then the rectum shapes the feces into pellets. If you've seen the droppings of domestic fowl before, you discover that it's not like every other animal eating pellets. So it's in the rectum that there is dehydration, that is, water is removed from the feces before the feces is eliminated. Then it is also shaped into pellets. Then the cloaca contains the kidney. The kidney and the reproductive ducts, they open into the cloaca. Then the anus is for eliminating waste from the system. You can see the structure in this domestic fowl. You see the digestive system being illustrated, and the various parts that I've explained are being shown. Now, that is that for digestive system. Talk about digestive system in ruminants, in non-ruminants, then in domestic fowl. Now, we'll move on to talk about the circulatory system. The circulatory system involves all the organs and tissues that are concerned with the movements of materials from one part of the body to another, where they are either needed or removed. So, circulation or circulatory system involves organs and tissues that are concerned with movements of materials from one part of the body where they are produced to where they are either used or they are removed from the body. And these organs and tissues include the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. Now we're talking about blood compositions and function, then blood circulation. Blood is a connective tissue consisting of fluid matrix called the plasma, and it consists of three types. We have the erythrocytes, that's the red blood corpuscles. We have the leukocytes, that's the white blood corpuscles. Then we have the thrombocytes, also called the platelets. The plasma is the straw-colored liquid that remains when all the cells are removed from the blood. It consists of about 91% of water, 7% protein, such as fibrinogen, prothrombin, which are concerned with clothing. Then the plasma also contains ions of dissolved salts, especially sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate, sulfate, and phosphate. The plasma transports dissolved food such as glucose, amino acid, fat, and fatty acid. Then it also transports excretory products such as urea and uric acid. The plasma also transports dissolved gases such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. It transports hormone. It also transports vitamins. The red blood corpuscles are circular biconcave discs without nuclei. They develop first in the blood island in the embryo, and then you find it later in the liver and then in the spleen until birth. Red blood corpuscles is also found in bone marrow after birth and have an average lifespan of about 120 days, after which they are destroyed in the liver and are replaced by new cells from the red marrow. The red blood cells contains hemoglobin and is responsible for the transport of oxygen in the blood. The white blood corpuscles, they have nuclei, but they have no pigments. They produce antitoxins to neutralize bacteria toxins. They are manufactured in the liver and spleen of the embryo, but in the bone marrow, the spleen, and the lymphatic glands in adults. They have short lifespan and are continuously produced in the red bone marrow. The blood platelets are tiny cytoplasmic bodies that are present in the blood plasma. The blood platelets are not cells, but they are boarded off by large cells in the red bone marrow. They are rounded or oval in shape, and they are concerned with clothing. Now we'll talk about the functions of the blood. What functions the blood have? First, they transport oxygen. Oxygen is transported in the form of oxyhemoglobin from the lungs to the tissue. So after the oxygen is removed, then you have your hemoglobin back. Then also, the blood transports carbon dioxide, it transports excretory materials, it transports digested food, then it helps in the distribution of hormones. It regulates the body temperature, it keeps the body temperature constant by elimination of excess amounts of water and mineral. Then it is produced from tissues. It produced from tissue is transferred into the blood around the body. So there is uniform body temperature. When it is produced in one part of the body, it is transferred into the blood. So it moves around the body. So the body temperature is uniform. Then the blood also defends the body against diseases, especially through the white blood cells do that. They are called phagocytes. They engulf and digest bacteria invading the tissue. Blood is also responsible for, another function of the blood is clotting. And the platelets are the ones that are responsible for this. They form clumps, which they break up to release enzyme called turbokinase, which helps fibrinogen to form insoluble fibrin when blood is exposed to air, as at the surface of the cut. You know, if you have had cuts before, you discover that blood comes out. Then after a while, there is a solid substance, the blood just congeals, so to say, just becomes solid and blood stops flowing. If that does not occur, or if it's not long that the blood stops flowing and that clot formed and you removed it, it's called that blood will keep flowing until there is another process of clotting. So if clotting does not occur, then you keep on losing blood until you lose the last drop. That is how serious the function of clotting of blood is. Then also, another function of blood is turgidity. This is seen in certain parts of the body, such as in the erection of the penis. The penis is related by filling of spongy tissue with the blood prior to copulation. Then another function of blood is the maintenance of constant osmotic pressure and pH, that is the hydrogen ion concentration. This is due to the presence of plasma protein. So that is talking about the functions of the blood and circulation. Now we move on to talk about respiratory system. Respiratory system involves all organs and tissues that are associated with the exchange of gases between an animal and its environment, leading to the release of energy. The purpose of respiration is to supply oxygen to the cells which oxidize or burn down the food to release energy. Now, the chemical breakdown of glucose, accelerated by enzyme inside the living cells to liberate energy, or ATP, also known as adenosine triphosphate, for life activity, is called respiration. Carbon dioxide and water are given off as byproducts of respiration, and this is the equation of respiration. We have C6H12O6, that's glucose, plus 6 molecules of oxygen, giving us 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water, then energy, or 38 ATP. Respiration takes place in 2 stages. We have the external respiration, then the internal respiration. The external respiration involves the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between body tissues and the environment, while the internal respiration involves the actual chemical reactions of respiration when oxygen has been taken in and is used up by the individual cells in the body for oxidation of food substances. That is internal or cell respiration. Now, respiration organs of animals begin with the trachea at the glottis, which is protected against the entry of foreign particles by the epiglottis. Then below the glottis, we have the larynx, which leads to the trachea. The trachea branches into 2 bronchi, one to each lung. Then each bronchus branches into bronchioles and eventually terminates into a thin wall sac called the alveoli. The bronchioles terminate into the alveoli, which are richly supplied with capillaries. Gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli. Now, the whole lung is covered by the pleural membrane and the diaphragm. The lung is enclosed in an airtight compartment called the the pleural cavity. Now, the summary of the stories that I've just said about the respiration organ of animal is that air comes in through the nostril. In the nostrils, the air is cleaned and moistened. Then it's also heated to the body temperature. You know, the temperature of the environment may not necessarily be the temperature of your body. But when air comes in, you breathe in your nose, the air is cleaned by the hair in the nose. That is why when you put your hand or you put an handkerchief, your white handkerchief in your nose to clean it, discover that you see some dirt. That's the work of the hair in your nose, that it has purified the hair so that you don't take in dirty hair. It has cleaned it. Then also in the nose, it is moistured and heated to the body temperature. Then from there, the hair goes into the trachea, then to the bronchi, to the bronchioles, then the alveoli. We have two processes involved in the breathing process. We have the inhalation, or the process, or what we call inspiration. This is when the atmospheric air rich in oxygen is breathing. So you breathe in, you inspire some air. Then the second one is exhalation, or what we call expiration, when air rich in carbon dioxide is breathed out. So after you breathe in, you breathe it out. But what you breathe in is not what you breathe out. You breathe in oxygen, then you breathe out carbon dioxide. In inhalation, the diaphragm contracts and flattens downward. Then the intercostal muscles contract, pulling the rib upward and out towards the head. So when you breathe in, you see that the intercostal muscles contract, then the ribs come up, it comes up. Then the volume of the thoracic cavity increases and the lung expands. Then the air pressure in the lung is reduced and the air from outside flows into the lung through the nose, to the trachea, to the bronchi, then to the alveoli, to equalize the pressure in the lungs with the atmospheric pressure. The air flow